Oh, hello, Andy. What's up, dude?
Hey man, it's good to see you. How's your day
Good to
so
see you
far?
too. It's going great. Excited to be here on monetized crypto again. I mean, it was a super big bummer to not be able to make it to the last one. I know it was probably super boring with just Brian, and so and now Brian can't be here today, and so it's just us two. But
Yeah, man. Well, it's all good. That's part of the fun of having this squad here. I'm excited for us to test out this podcast format and just really get something or ideas to have different characters, different styles, different perspectives, and it'll be real cool when we start getting different types of people on the show as well. I'm interested to see what kind of characters we attract.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's the thing that people miss a lot about a podcast is it's not just about information or just hearing yourself talk, but about the different perspectives that you get on different topics. And yeah, I think it'll be really exciting once we get some different, because I think we all have our own differentiating views on a lot of different things, and so I think that's why it's fun when we're all three on here, or even when there's just two of us on here. I couldn't imagine running like a podcast by myself or something like that. Like that'd be so boring.
I
um
mean, I could
you know
see it. Like it's just a different style. It's definitely easier having someone to talk with. But
for
at
sure.
the same time, going on one's own, I found uh, it's nerve wracking. So it definitely brings out me turn this music down. So I get my lo-fi in the background. If you can hear
Got your
that.
lo-fi, got my Colombian blend here for this morning, so I'm enjoying that a lot, keeping me going.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's something
things.
where it's like it just makes it to where you can. I guess it kind of puts yourself on the spot to where I found I really got to think things through coherently, especially whenever it's dead silent. There's no response, but it's
Yeah,
super helpful when there's a chat.
for
Probably
sure.
one of my favorite formats, actually.
I mean, there's, I think, I wonder, if even like Joe Rogan would do a podcast by himself. Like, I don't think he would even like that,
At this point,
like,
it'd have to be weird to him because yeah, he's
yeah,
always got somebody.
it's got to be an art form to just do it yourself. Um,
Well, I'm sure we'll get to experiment with a whole lot of formats, and I'm excited about today's topic. It's been in my mind a lot how there's this there's this stereotype of just terrible marketers everywhere. Now, for folks like us, we're typically looking at quality marketing, good projects, and seeing funnel hacking. What insights can we draw from the folks who are doing it right? Yet
yeah,
I often kind of, it's humbling, but recently, as I've started to talk to a lot more projects, working as an ecosystem growth manager over at Subsquid, it's something where talking to so many different projects and realizing they all face pretty much the same problem. It's something along the lines of they've been screwed over by a marketer, they've been burned. Whether that's somebody that went in and completely overpromised and underdelivered, somebody who just shamelessly sold a service and then never delivered, or just all sorts of horror stories. Maybe a project got dragged along for months or just way past schedule. So yeah, I wanted to go over that because I think it's something where since we've been on both sides of the table, I mean, you've been inside of a large agency, more of a corporate environment. You've been self-starter as a contractor going into running your own agency. I've been on the side as a coach, actually guiding other agency owners how to be able to run an agency better. And of course, we've also been on the corporate side, hiring agencies and contractors. And yeah, I really just wanted to have this dialogue and hear more about, I guess, to start off with, from your perspective, what is it that you see as well, one, is it actually something that marketers are just inevitably terrible, or is it something that it is that kind of bias where we all have that sting and it holds on to us, kind of like, well, we've all had those experiences. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
well, it is extremely true. I was just talking with somebody that we work with the other day that was kind of talking about that, and I was like, yeah, it seems like things have gotten a lot harder for marketers over the past couple of years, especially when it comes to sales, because pretty much everybody has been screwed over once or twice by some marketing agency or some marketing person. And there's just this soiled bad taste in their mouth that then people like us, who I would categorize us as pretty good marketers, have a lot harder time getting over that hump of trust. And it's really unfortunate. There are a lot of bad people in the industry because I think a lot of people have been taught how to sell marketing better than they have been taught how to do marketing. Like it's really easy to sell marketing when a lot of people need it, especially when you look like 5 years ago, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
maybe 5+ years ago, when everybody started to realize that they really needed it. It was really easy to sell it. You know, we've done a lot of marketing programs, and a lot of it, you know, I understand sales is important. Not a lot of people know how to sell. You need to know how to sell the service. But so many people focus on that rather than the fundamentals of actual marketing and generating results, and learning how to move a client forward up a ladder. So when I look at it, yeah, it's become a huge problem in the industry. It's made things a lot more difficult, and it's made people focus so much on case studies, which I get it, but people need to realize that case studies they're a marketing mechanism. It's something that's just used to increase the trust, which I'm not against the idea of case studies or anything like that. But when you use that as your foundational decision maker, as whether somebody has the most case studies, you know, because I remember taking sales calls with people that signed, you know, $20,000 to $50,000 contracts with some of the biggest marketing agencies that completely failed.
Totally suck. Yeah.
So they totally sucked. So that's shouldn't be a standard that we should use at all. But yeah, it's a tough place we are in the industry, and I think that what we need to do is we need to move back to the fundamentals of actual marketing, and that it shouldn't be as much of a focus as, like you said, over promising and saying that there's because everybody wants to say that there's this shiny new system or this brand new strategy, you know, but when you break it down, it all comes back to the same fundamentals of
You know,
marketing,
man,
of, you know, creating want and need.
it's funny you go to the fundamentals though, because I was thinking whenever you were describing how bad marketers can be, I just had the mental image of a company pushing a rope, and it's like, you know, it doesn't matter how much experience or how strong of a company you think you have, how great your product or service is. If those fundamentals are missing, you can push the damn rope all you want. It's not going to do very much. In a
Right.
similar way, though, with marketing, I find the best ones are the boring ones. They're the ones who are
Yeah.
asking about,
Right.
about your target persona. They're asking about what's your competitive advantage. They're looking to find out what is your overall mission, your brand, you know, your brand statement. And some projects don't have that put together, and that in itself is usually a one of the first steps. But it's interesting because the marketers that I've had the most respect for, because of course there's plenty of shitty marketers, but let's take a moment and look at that. Maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 10%. I don't know what the number is, but there's a percentage of marketers that are damn good. I mean, we've all bought something. We've all seen an ad. We've all read an email. We've all been through something that encouraged us or inspired action from us as a result of marketing. And the guys that I find that I respect the most, they're usually pretty strict. If a company doesn't have a mission statement, if they don't have a coherent message of the value their product and service offers, if they don't know their customer, if they can't answer who isn't their customer, a marketing agency, at least the good ones, usually they're just as they're just as careful about who they take on as a client is that choosing who they want to have as a marketer. And
Yeah.
I wonder that I think a lot of that comes down to, well, having those fundamentals, because the marketers who have been around the block a couple times, they know if a project hasn't thought about the basics and they're not open to being able to have those put together, it's a risk. But then the challenge I see is that it becomes a chicken and the egg situation. Somebody decides that they're ready to upgrade their business. You know, they perhaps bootstrap their way and they've gone through the Wix website and they put together a little something something on their blog and they've got the ball rolling, but they haven't dove deep into those fundamentals. Yet they try to find a competent marketing agency. The good ones are probably going to be scared away by how small they are. The company itself is probably going to be intimidated by the price of a good marketer, typically in the multiple five figures. And then on top of that, the bad marketers are just so ever present that it can be like diving into a needle in a haystack and looking for a needle in a haystack to
Right.
find the good ones. So I guess I wonder, you know, this is just my perspective, but I'm curious, what have you seen? And if this is the case, well, what pointers would you have to make, what do you think might be a solution for it?
a solution for like finding a good marketer.
Yeah, let's call it the chicken and the egg conundrum, which is
Yeah.
a company is going to need a service, but if they don't have that service, it's harder for them to attract the type of folks who can actually help them.
Yeah. I'm not 100% understanding the question, but when I look at, when I think about like a a crypto project or a blockchain project that's happening right now, I think that they're obviously ripe for the picking because it's the industry kind of everyone's running to, and it's the industry like we see every Facebook marketer and every like Google advertiser running straight to crypto because it's the new best flashy thing. But
Yeah.
what a lot of people don't understand is that it's dramatically and radically different than old school advertising, or not old school advertising, but I guess like the almost like new school Facebook advertising versus old school. It's actually more like old school traditional advertising than it is like like the new school 2014 to 2018 advertising. Um, and so I think for like a crypto project or a blockchain project, I think when it comes, and I think when it comes to understanding any marketing at all, like if you're evaluating a marketer or something like that, yeah, look for like the really boring people. Look for the people that are actually evaluating the project itself, because a good product can typically sell itself. There's no amount of fancy language um, or fancy marketing that's going to sell a project, at least long term, maybe short term, but not long term. You're not going to be able to scale. They're sure you could call on some unicorns here and there that were really bad that somebody made $1 billion. That's fine. But we're there's a reason it's a unicorn. But I think that when it comes down to all good marketing, um, I think it's important to see like what kind of expectations are actually set. We always try and set zero expectations, and I think that when looking for somebody's when looking at somebody's services or looking at what they're trying to put out there, understand that all marketing is almost is zero guarantee. We expect failure actually in most cases. And to me, the best marketers are the ones that can be the most creative, but also evaluate the data that they're receiving, that there's a consistent feedback loop that's telling them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And they're able to very quickly get rid of what's bad and
That
keep on
idea of
doing
a
what's good and
data-oriented
improve.
marketer, that's kind of a unicorn in itself. Now that I think about it, that is
Yeah.
huge. That's a
Well,
much more
that's
coherent perspective, yet that
yeah,
is a
and that's
consistency.
And that's what me and you have always tried to be, where it's like, for the past few years, we've been focusing so much on data um,
And
because
it's
it
so
does.
unsexy.
Yeah,
We typically get laughed away because
it
they want
is.
to see
Everyone
something.
wants to
Oh
see
my
what
goodness.
kind of creatives have you guys done, or like show me some copywriting, you guys. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the creative it is. It doesn't matter what the copywriting is.
So
None
what are
of
we
that
gonna do for
matters
you?
at all. Yeah, doesn't matter. And we've said it a million times before in the past. Past performance is no indication of future results. In fact, it means zero altogether. Um, and so yeah, I think, and that's unfortunate. Nobody wants to hear that, that marketing is a little bit more boring than you actually think it is. It can be really fun. What's really fun is when you scale. And you're actually making money and you get a good return. That's what's really fun. But you have to get through the boring stuff in order to get there. And typically, the best ads are not the most exotic, out of this world ads, right? They're typically pretty basic and pretty standard, but they follow the right fundamentals. Um, and
I mean,
so,
think about
but
the
and
Ron Lynch ads. He really just takes it down to just if I can compare it to code, the low level programming of what
yeah,
really makes the computer tick. And in this case here, he's looking at humans. So when he starts
right.
off looking at a product and he's thinking, okay, well, not what are the features of this product, but why is somebody buying this? And then in what state are they in that we're able to hijack is the word that comes to mind, but I was thinking of a euphemized word for it. But let's just say hijack the attention of somebody who's looking to buy something. Let's say someone's trying to buy a house. That's a big decision. There's a lot of components that goes into that, and the person's they're not going to waste their time and especially their money working with someone who might be sketchy. So you've got these thousands of realtors that are going out there and mostly ineffective marketing, yet there's usually those few that stand out. Those people we actually remember, that when we think, I think I want to look at a house, or I think I want to consider it. What's the market look like nowadays? There's probably only, like, even for yourself, you've probably been in the situation where you've met a bunch of realtors. How many realtors can you think of off the top of your head that you'd actually want to talk to?
Yeah.
It's probably, you could probably count them on both your fingers.
Difficult,
Probably
yeah.
one hand for me. One hand I can count.
Right.
I worked in real estate for years. I can count the good realtors that I really actually would reach out to for myself on one hand. And if I look back at what is it that makes me attracted to the realtors that I think would be, I'd put in that competent level, well, it's actually pretty boring stuff. They were consistent. I
Yeah.
love a good follow up, a respectful, thoughtful follow up, because it shows that they actually understand the game. And at the same time, though, I think one of those things that can come up, I know we're getting to the end of this short.
Yeah,
this
we're short
shorter
on time here. I
conversation.
do have a question for you. We're getting short on time.
Oh, yeah, sure, please.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, so knowing all that and saying all that, like for maybe a project that is evaluating a marketer, because what I think one of our main goals and one of my main goals is to help crypto projects decide on who the right marketer is so that they don't get screwed. What would you say are like some, not necessarily strategies or steps, but like what questions, should a project owner actually ask a
Absolutely.
marketer to find the right one? Because I think everybody has their
To
standard set
be
of
frank, there
questions.
is
They're
one
typically
question.
wrong though. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one question that's going to take care of the situation 9 times out of 10. And just a full disclosure, like, I am a marketer. I have a marketing
Same.
consultancy. I work at a blockchain project. But the fact is, whether you hire us, you hire someone on Upwork, Fiverr, or your buddy from school, you got to ask this one question. That is, what is your plan? What is your strategy? And whether you're making a website, whether you're getting some kind of advertising management done, whether you're wanting to have some kind of creative process, whether you're wanting to do copywriting, email marketing, Discord bots, it doesn't really matter. If you ask a person, what is your strategy that you're going to implement for my company? And then just listen. How do they respond? Is it coherent? Do you understand the steps? Can they even give you a response? And then when they do, is it good? And that's the part that can get a little bit fuzzy, because usually
Right.
what's going to happen is you're going to be spoon-fed a bunch of bullshit. Oh, well, we take a proprietary marketing system.
Yeah.
Run, screaming. If they point you to their website, if they throw a case study at you, run. A good marketer or a good marketing company, they'll make it to where whoever it is that is representing their brand, whether that's a salesperson or themselves are the ones doing the interactions. If they're not able to walk you through what they actually do for the specific service that you're interested in, your red flags or your red lights should be flashing in that. Alternatively, what a good response sounds like is they're going to give you something that sounds boring. We're going to take the first period of time and research X, Y, and Z variables. From what I know about your industry, these are the things that I see are pretty important. We're going to confirm or deny whether our hypotheses are true. We're going to put together a couple of ideas and we're going to run them by you to see what makes the most sense. And within this period of time, we expect that we'll be able to have put together the first round of the drafts and to have that available for your revision and review. From there, after 2, maybe sometimes 3, if they're extraordinarily generous or new, they will let you go through the final part process, and they can tell you how long the process should take. If they're not able to walk you through the steps, if they can't tell you how long it might take, if they can't tell you what the range of prices might be, if they don't seem to know any details, or they seem to have convenient short-term memory loss about their own services, yeah, flashing red light. Good question, brother.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Well, I know you got to get running, and so today was a nice shorty. So yeah, I mean, I think although it was short, it was very good, very precise and to the point. So thanks so much. Anybody who joined in, I think I saw 1 view come in while we were watching. But
Nice.
yeah, until next time, have a good weekend. Happy Good Friday, happy Easter to everyone out there, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye for now, y'all.
Bye.
All right. Very cool, man. Yeah. Thanks for slinging the question.